This is the Monstrum Panzer, or Panzer in German, which means armor or tank, and we're going to see if this functions like a piece of military equipment or is just a shiny piece of metal. So, let's take a closer look. Let's skip the unboxing and just take a look at what you get inside of the box. This is the Panzer 1-6 first focal plane Lpvo with the new CM3 BDC reticle, and physically it is identical to the Panzer 1-10 model that I reviewed recently. It has this very unique and stylish tank tread inspired design on its control surfaces, and it's owing to its name, which is Panzer, which in German means armor, and they've used that name for their famous tank designs in World War II. So that's where this tread design comes from. But it offers not just cool aesthetics, but also a good grippy surface, whether you have gloved hands in the cold or in the wet. It has a 2-color rheostat illuminated reticle here, and there's 5 intensity settings for each of the colors with an off in between each of the color groups. It's powered by a 2032 coin battery. And let's take a look at these turrets. Nice loud clicks. No slop. It's tactile positive though. It's not as tactile as some turrets I've tested. Windage, pretty much identical. No slop. Good loud clicks. They are user resettable, and each click is a half an MOA, even though it says half an inch per 100 yards. Well, that's really just MOA, what they mean on there. I don't know why they just didn't say MOA. All right, let's take a look at our magnification ring, and that turns pretty smooth. You can hear more rubbing than, I don't feel any grittiness, and this offers just the right amount of resistance. It has a built-in fin to add additional leverage should you need it, though really it's turned smooth enough that I can just do it with 2 fingers here. And this is user replaceable. There's a screw in there, you can unscrew that, slide that off, and replace it with a throw lever, which it does come with. Now, let's check out this ocular focus. Pretty smooth. Not butter smooth, but still. No grittiness. Again, you can hear more rubbing than you can feel. All right, pretty darn nice. This also comes with pretty darn nice looking cantilever offset mounts, and this is actually pretty legit. These have lightning cuts to reduce the weight but still keep it strong, and these are pretty lightweight. And you can see it has 3 recoil lugs, so this isn't moving. And they use torque screws, not just hex screws, for this cantilever mount. And in my experience, these have held up quite well. All right, so let's take this out to the range outdoors and test it out. I started by mounting the scope to a photo tripod and taking it outdoors. We are looking through the Monstrum Panzer 1-6 at its lowest power of 1 to give our best overall image through the scope. And we live with an Lpvo mostly at 1 power with both eyes open. So if we compare the image inside of the glass to that outside of the scope, we get a good sense of what that looks like. And there is really no, or very minimal distortion of the image. You can see that if we look at the change in scale and position of any objects as they move within and without the scope view. And let's take a look at that telephone pole there. See how straight it is. Slight, very slight bend and a little bit of an offset in position. So that is a little bit of distortion, what some folks will call a fisheye effect with an Lpvo. This scope is pretty good, though not quite as flat as a Banshee that I reviewed recently, but you know, it's still pretty darn good. And as we bring up our magnification, we are going to be magnifying all the faults in the glass. So let's bring it up to 3 power. And this still looks really good, bright and clear and crisp on the overall image. I don't see any significant softening around the outer edges, really none. And I don't really see any chromatic aberration. And not surprising, since they do use ED glass in their Panzers. All right, let's bring this all the way up to 6. And that is still a pretty crisp image at 6 power. I can even make out at the top of the hill there, which is 1,400 yards away, I can see a trail marker sign at the top of the hill. That is a 8-foot tall pole with a 36-inch steel sign atop it, which is a good proxy for an IPSC target at this distance. Let's take a look at their illumination here. And I'm going to bring it up to its maximum in red. And that pops out. That's good. And I'm going to bring it to its maximum in green. And that also pops out. But if we bring this down to 1 power, or again, most of us are going to be living with this Lpvo, is that still visible? And I would have to say no, it is not. We're looking through the Monstrum Panzer at 1 power at our targets 100 yards away. Now let's bring it up halfway to 3 power. And now up to its maximum of 6 power. Alright, let's take a look at these turrets and their range of adjustments. I'm going to start with the elevation here. That's pretty good. And it's keeping on going. Alright, and that is the top. Alright, let's bring this back down and see where our bottom is. Wow, okay, that is quite a wide range of adjustments there. Wow, it's taken a while. Let's get that to 0. Okay, now let's take a look at our windage. Alright, and that's it. No dead clicks. Let's go back. You can get tired turning these turrets to get all the way to the other end. And that is all the way to our left. Okay, let's get this back to 0. And okay, all right, let's do a box test here. I'm going to do a full rotation on our elevation. Now a full rotation on our windage. Now back on our elevation. And back on our windage. And it looks like we're just a fraction of a hair off on the windage. Still not bad for a budget Lpvo. And honestly, it's a capped turret Lpvo. You really should be using the reticle for your wind holdovers. Let's move up to 50 yards and look at those reference targets in greater detail. Alright, we are looking at our targets now at 50 yards at 1 power, and let me crank this up halfway to 3 power, and now all the way up to 6 power. Alright, taking a look at our overall image, I can see a little bit of chromatic aberration on the target frames on the left and right side, and on our center reference target backing board. Now looking at the target on the lower left, I can make out hits on the reactive sticker target, and in our resolution chart on the bottom right, I can make out horizontal and vertical lines down to element 6 in group -2, and with my naked eye I could kind of see element 1 in group -1, but not as clearly. I'd like to thank Monstrum for sending out this Lpvo for me to test and evaluate, and I also got a chance to test out their 1-10 recently. And this Lpvo is practically identical to the Panzer 1-10, except for the magnification. The 1-10 can resolve greater detail because of its higher magnification, but this 1-6 is slightly shorter, a little bit lighter, and cheaper, and has a more forgiving eye box than the 1-10. Still, it's a bit of a toss-up. Let me know why you would pick a 1-6 versus a 1-10. Leave me a comment, because I'd be hard-pressed to tell you one is better than the other. One question I often get asked is, will it hold zero? Will the Panzer hold zero? And yes, I do test them in live fire. But there's always somebody out there who's not satisfied with the caliber of rifle I'm using or how many rounds I put through it. If it's 50 rounds, they'll say, well, how about 250 rounds or 2,000 rounds? Well, you know what? I asked a friend of mine to test out this exact same Panzer 1-6 on his 50 caliber Barrett. And yeah, it held zero, so I'm satisfied. But if you want to see that video, actually, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when I post that video. And that's absolutely free. But now YouTube also offers memberships, and members get early access to my video reviews days, even weeks ahead of the general public. Plus you get perks like invites to live streams where I give away some of the products that I review. So there's that. Now, one disappointing aspect about this Lpvo and the 1-10 is got to be the illumination. Now, it's only CQB, low light, or indoor bright in my description, but to be fair, practically every other first focal plane Lpvo is like that. I mean, you really have to go to second focal plane fiber optic Lpvos like the Banshees with a C1 reticle to get true daylight or red dot bright illumination. Or if you want a first focal plane that's truly daylight bright, you're going to have to pay for something more bougie like the Sig Tango 6 or the Vortex HD or the Night Force ATACR. But those Lpvos are well over $1.50 and some over $2,000, so I think I'm going to be satisfied with the Panzer 1-6. So if you're interested in picking one of these up, I'll include product links as well as more information in my full written review at moondogindustries.com. Definitely check out that article and use those links to help support this channel. And the fact that you're still watching this at this point probably means you like this video, so be sure to hit that like button before jumping off to the next video. Thanks again for watching. You be safe out there. Moondog, out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.